Hey everyone, Anthony Pizzo here. I was on Klonopin for 15 years, 2 milligrams a day, and I was able to stop basically taking Klonopin overnight, and along with it, I was able to come off of Adderall 20 milligrams a day, extended release. Doing so using Flumazenil. Basically, I'm probably saying that wrong. Basically, I went to Italy to get a treatment using Flumazenil to stop Klonopin, to save my life. Why am I making this video, and why am I making it crazy long? Because this video is long overdue, and it's crazy how people are endlessly suffering about coming off benzos, suffering withdrawal for years, and every time I say Flumazenil online, I'm looked at like I'm a lunatic. So here's my story. It's long, it's a little bit scatterbrained. It's not the sexiest video. I'm coming to you from my long-term bedroom in my small row home in Philadelphia, but this video is raw, real, and it needs to be said. Please, I'm not asking for money, I'm not asking for subscribers, I'm not asking for donations. It's criminally insane how the truth cannot get out there about Flumazenil. Again, I'm not being paid by anyone, although I do sound like a shill for the Flumazenil treatment. So where do I begin? I was a university professor here in Philadelphia, PA, for a few years. I was taking Klonopin every day for severe anxiety related to kind of losing my eyesight, and I had just real bad anxiety and depression. And one day my psychologist team at Jefferson University Hospital said, we're going to stop giving you medications. You have to get ECT. ECT is electronic convulsion therapy, where they shock your brain into hopefully kind of breaking some of the bonds of depression. Did not work, but when you get ECT, you can't be taking Klonopin. So I was able to taper down from about 2 milligrams a day of Klonopin to 1 milligram a day. It got lower enough. It was brutal, and the only reason I could do it is because I knew I was going to get ECT, and I was told it was the gold standard of treating depression. Bullshit. Didn't work. Made me infinitely worse. And when it didn't work, Jefferson Psychology dropped me as a patient, cold turkey, gave me 30 days to find a new psychologist, to find someone to prescribe my medicines. It wasn't going to work. I was taking Klonopin 2 milligrams a day, 1 milligram in the morning, 6 a.m., 1 milligram at night, 6 p.m. Never abused it, never even thought of abusing it, because I know once you take more Klonopin, forget it, it's over. And started taking, and I was also stopped being prescribed the Adderall as well. So, overnight my life, my world collapsed. I had to move to Thailand for a month to get any kind of prescriptions. I was able to get Klonopin prescribed legally there for 1 month. I knew that wasn't going to last, or that wasn't sustainable for me to do that, to be living abroad just to get access to Klonopin. So I came home to the US to try and self-taper. Brutal. I got down to 1.75 milligrams a day, and just shaking too much, horrible. And I was basically a death sentence. And before I get more into this, yes, I'm going to get more into the Flumazenil treatment. I know that's probably why you're here, but I just, now's the time to make this video. I keep seeing stories of people suffering and coming off benzos, and it does not have to be a death sentence. There's absolutely there's more than just hope out there. There's a real actual treatment for getting better out there. It is insane that this is all is going on, and to see other people suffering. And again, if this video is too scattered for you, please send me direct messages, direct comments, anything. I will get back to you all. It's I hate to say it in these terms, but it's my calling, my duty at this point. So where was I? So I dropped as a patient, came back from Thailand from getting Klonopin, tried to self-taper. It was a disaster. But when I was trying to come off the Klonopin, I was looking up every possible way to get better, some kind of treatments out there, and I did come across Flumazenil, however you say it, and how it's being used in other countries to get people off Klonopin. It sounded too good, or other benzos, too good to be true, where people are coming off 5, 6, 7 milligrams of Klonopin a day, which I'd be out cold, and people just stopping overnight. It sounds too good, right? Everything you've been told, there's nothing to come off Klonopin. It's you gotta suffer through it. Bull fucking shit. And the idea that your gut receptors are downtrodden and you can't recover from that, fucking bullshit. So I reached out to the clinic in Italy. Emailed me if I know the name of the place that I went to. It wasn't cheap, but for 10 days for $10,000 all in, including flights, meals, everything in outside of Milan and near Lake Como, fucking $10,000 for to come up benzos. Sure, whatever you want. Yeah, I went to Italy, went to the clinic there. I do speak some Italian. You don't have to be Italian to go there. The psychologist there spoke English. Actually, a great facility, croissants and cappuccino. While going in there, massively addicted to Klonopin, coming out, no problems. Okay, let me step back. So basically, what's the treatment like there? What's it entail? That sort of things. I get there, basically talk with the psychologist there. Very awesome guy, speaks English, no problem. And basically they hook you up to a little pump. I have pictures if you want to see it. And it gives you 1 milligram of Flumazenil for about 24 hours. It goes into your stomach. It's not invasive at all. It's a little tube you carry around your neck. It's actually pretty cool. And it goes into your system low and slow. And so over the 7 days, we gradually cut down from Klonopin from 2 milligrams a day to 0. Actually, by day 4, I was off Klonopin totally. Didn't even know it. Didn't even realize that I wasn't taking it anymore. Basically, what the Flumazenil does is it occupies the same site in your brain where the Klonopin usually goes. And so basically your brain's saying, oh, no, I have no Klonopin in my system. It's going haywire, sending all these signals to your body to everything, to shake and to the zaps, to nightmares, to massive, never-ending, tormenting panic and all those sorts of things. Basically, your body doesn't respond to it. It says, no problem here. Well, meanwhile, your brain wants sending all these signals. You can kind of feel that, which is actually, it's a pretty interesting feeling. It's not actually bad at all. And I actually didn't realize I was no longer on Klonopin. I thought when you go into the clinic, they ask you to give your Klonopin to them, and they give it to you in liquid form. So I didn't know how much I was taking per day. And so, I know I'm jumping around here, but basically, that by day 4, I thought I was still getting like half a milligram thing a day, but actually no. It turns out they'd stopped it the day prior, whatever. Again, I can give you specifics on all this later. I have to make this big video because all these thoughts have been in my head. Yeah. So, what was the hardest part of all that, other than going to Italy to get this crazy treatment at this place I never heard of, spending thousands of dollars to something that I thought would never in a million years could work, especially you tell someone who's addicted to Klonopin or benzos that just the thought of taking less benzos, never in a million years. I think I'd be, more or less 60 days out, actually just under. But yeah, you literally just your brain just stops kind of panicking, and so when you stop taking the Flumazenil, your brain kind of reverts back to normal, to how it was just before. It was when, for me at least, when I was taking, when I started Klonopin. The only reason I started Klonopin Benzo is because my depression it's not treatable with like antidepressants and things like ECT, like I mentioned, because I have some vision issues from a bad LASIK surgery and from macular degeneration. So I think the antidepressants, long story short, make my vision worse, much worse. Couldn't take them, so the benzos were the option of last resort. And just, if you're on benzos, do not feel guilty about it. There was a reason you were put on them, and someone suggested that benzos are going the way of the opiate. Yeah, I kind of think that's the case more and more, but by the same token, if you need to take them, there's a reason why you're taking them. So don't ever feel guilty, but no, there is without a doubt hope. Flumazenil is no joke. Just from what I know from the treatment, and because I used to be a university professor, researcher, doctor, I did a shit ton of reading on it. It's kind of called, the Flumazenil treatment is called the Lugaboni treatment or the Verona detox. I think benzos are much more commonly prescribed in Italy. It's really common, and they're not necessarily there's the stigma that's in the US is not there in Italy, because I think they use Flumazenil to get people off of benzos much more commonly. You need a much higher doses than I was on. even though in the U.S. I'm considered a super high dose. In Italy, no, they didn't even consider what I was on a high dose. And actually, the Flumazenil works just the same if you're on a little tiny dose or a super high dose. Zero side effects. The only side effects I had, if you watch some of my other videos, which I'm going to put back up, it was basically worrying about like, is this going to work? Is it going to last? Is this legit? I did have some minor things like some zaps and some trouble sleeping, but that was more related to the worry of it all. Listen, technically a week from now, November 1st or 3rd, we'll make 2 full months off of benzos, but just kind of zero side effects. The only reason I'm kind of shaky and kind of whatnot now is unrelated depression to anything benzo or Klonopin or Flumazenil related. Just some things that are going on culturally and socially here in the U.S. And so yeah, I'm just really trying to put it all out there in this video, because I didn't want to get involved in all this and the arguments of, because another point is, Flumazenil in the U.S., if you look it up or you ask a doctor about it, if they even know about it at all, which is criminal, they don't, they'll tell you it's super unsafe and leads to seizures. It's fucking bullshit. Again, Flumazenil is a benign substance that it's inactive, it sits in the receptor in your brain. It does not do anything. It knocks Klonopin actually off the receptors in your brain, or benzos off the receptors. The only reason it has such a stigma in the U.S. is because it's used by people in the emergency rooms, doctors, to get people out of a benzo overdose, and so they'll seize out, I think, because of the massive level of change. They give you like a bolus and a strong dose all at once of the Flumazenil, and so yeah, I'm not going to get to the physiology of it all, if I'm using the right word, but Flumazenil, when it's given to you for the Verona detox, for the benzo withdrawal, whatever, it's withdrawal is not even the right word. Detox is not the right word, because that implies some level of suffering or tapering or weaning and dread. No, fuck it. It was super easy to come up with all this stuff, criminally used. And so yeah, when they give you the Flumazenil in Italy, basically giving it to you over 24 hours. For me, 7, which I extended to 10 days, because instead of over 10 days, I was getting a steady infusion in my blood over 24 hours of 1 milligram per day of Flumazenil. And that's so it doesn't crush you all at once, or knock all the Klonopin off your system all at once. So really not a big deal at all. I think this is so routine, so common, so a benign substance. The facility was not worried about Flumazenil as its substance at all, not an iota. They're actually more focused on my depression, treating that, than me coming off the anxiety, which is not a knock on them. It's more of to me, shows you how effective and benign Flumazenil is. So don't let people gaslight you at all about this medicine. Getting treatment is criminal. It is not used here in the U.S. Again, I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, lunatic, as a junkie who's trying to convince himself of their own bullshit or any of that. I have a Reddit post. I think it's on there. Reach out to me. I'll try to post it if anyone has any interest in it. Where I go by day of my treatment in Italy at the clinic there. Sorry, I forget what I was saying, but yeah, again, it's criminal. It's not used, but just to hear some of the stories of people going through benzo detox and withdrawal and stuff that I went through multiple times when I was preparing for the EC treatment and preparing for to try and live without it taking on my own when I was dropped as a patient. And side note, in case you're wondering, that Jefferson, I pursued legal action or anything against Jefferson. I tried to do something, but these medical hospitals are untouchable. Yeah, so it's brutally scary and criminal, and that's why I'm putting this video out there. You can't trust them to keep prescribing any type of benzos or stimulants, or in my case, we were on both, and where you had a medical reason to be on both, massive depression, anxiety. For me, my eyesight, and I was working as a professor, needed to be focused, stay sharp, and I live in Philadelphia. It's not a good place to be. Yeah, so, but I get why it's done in rare cases to be on both. So yeah, this is kind of a little side story of why I was on those medicines. So feel free to judge me being on an upper and a downer, but that's a really simplistic way of looking at all that. And I thought people in the medical psychology community would know better, and then you quickly realize doing your own research. Someone who's published a lot, myself, it's just bullshit. So sorry for these rants, but I just want to put this all out there. I don't want to see anyone else suffer when there is simple, easy, effective treatment. And just to put on your radar, can you get Flumazenil in the U.S. Or can you come off Klonopin and Benzos with it? Yeah, there's 2 clinics. There's one in Richmond, Virginia. I think now there's one in Colorado that actually do it. Again, I don't work for these people. I don't make money. I think they do something similar to what I got in Italy, where they give you, I think here in the U.S. they'll give you over 12 hours, something like that, and once a day, things like that. Something to consider, definitely. I don't want to force it down your throat, but I don't want to get on some soapbox and tell you do this, that, and that, in case it doesn't work for you. But I think that the time for that is come and gone. And if you're considering it, do it. The one time when I had to really push myself was getting on a plane ride to go to Italy, right? I was at the lowest I've ever been. No medicines, no Klonopin, no more Adderall. Going to spend $10,000 for some treatment with a doctor that I Skyped with for a few minutes and exchanged a few emails for. All my future on the line for all this, like beyond fucking hopeless, right? Beyond hopeless. So I'm here now, right? The hardest part was getting on the plane and doing all that. So please, wherever you can, I'm not working anymore. I'm on Social Security disability. That's why please reach out to me. I have time. But I'm going to find people who need help, need some, at least kind of with the practicalities of just getting treatment and just destigmatizing this, because frankly, modern psychology should be the one with the stigma and not you trying to get better or come off Klonopin. And do I feel worse now? No, I don't feel worse. The reason why I don't quite feel great now is because I'm still depressed. Do I feel anxious? No, I don't feel not an iota of being anxious. And I know kind of being depressed and anxious go hand in hand, but I think kind of the way the U.S. is going, the politics here and the culture here makes me super depressed. But I'm not anxious about it at all. I took Klonopin religiously at 6 a.m., 6 p.m. a day, twice a day for 15 years when I first had my LASIK. And then I got much worse anxiety when I found out I had macular degeneration in 2020. And that's when I started to had to take Adderall legally under psychologist supervision to kind of get through the days. And then one day the college at Jefferson just said, no, we're not, after the ECT, just said, no, we're not prescribing this anymore. Neither the Klonopin nor the Adderall. Cold turkey, my primary care doctor, Prof. Jefferson, who had prescribed it no problem for years and years, just dropped me as a patient overnight. Destroyed me, my family, take care of my parents, my elderly parents. So I needed to get better or I was going to die. My family was going to die. So it couldn't have been worse. So I keep forgetting my overarching points here, but that's why I'm putting this out there. So it's you have it. Maybe this video and other follow-ups, things like that, will get to the people who need to hear it most. I was afraid to make these videos because I don't want my Social Security disability money being jeopardized. It's how me and my family, my parents live. Once you see how the medical and frankly all these institutions can just pull things out from under you, no recourse, it's you lose trust in society and you see how quickly things could fall apart. Alright, I think I'll kind of keep it there. I know I'm going to have things to add and whatnot later on. My videos, clearly not sexy, but I don't need a sexy fucking video, well-produced video, when the truth is the most important, beautiful part of this all. You can come off benzos without the hell of taping and lasting side effects and all that. I feel right now like I did the day before I started all the benzos, when I was first prescribed them back in 2004, 2005. no, sorry, around 2007-ish. Yeah, so again, it's, and basically how do I feel now? I think kind of maybe that's the last thing I'll close with. Or maybe what's improved. I feel like I'm in my old body in a good way. Like my body's working the way it should. Like, my joints don't. You don't realize how strong Klonopin is and benzos are until you're off. Everything was affected by it. I was sleeping all day. I was in this bed, got 20 hours a day, and so I just remember that I stopped taking the Adderall too, because the benzos are out of my system. Instead of being a downer, I kind of had more energy naturally. So I was able to stop them. I didn't have to. No one was forcing me, well, legally and in terms of getting legal access to them. Yeah, I had to stop it. I could go back to Thailand and get it, but that's not the point. That's not what I want. So yeah, I'm able to stop. I'm able to do things now with being up and sedated. I feel more in touch with my emotions. The happiest, the highs are higher. There's some life to it. I hate this expression, but I could kind of feel music more. If that kind of, I think it's kind of a good way of understanding it. And my libido works much better. I didn't realize how suppressed this all really, really was. Things are working like they should be. Like I take over-the-counter supplements like fish oil and some of the krill oil, some of the healthier things. But even caffeine, just to give you a better example, I used to have like 4 or 5 cups a day just to like get myself going a little bit, so sedated. Now I'll have like half a cup and like it's all I need. It works the way it should. So I think that will give you some context of how I feel. And just the best part of it all is I was never more than 5 inches from Klonopin. It was in my wallet. I had extra in my wallet. I had extra in my family car. My mom's handbag had it in case I missed it. I would never, kind of away from it in case 6 p.m. rolled around. And by 6:02, I'm in bed shaking horrible. The anxiety of having anxiety is gone, and that by far is the worst part of all this. You don't even realize taking benzos is the anxiety of it all, right? Of that relief that comes. Now that relief is more or less there naturally, And so, all right, now I'm gonna end it there. So hopefully this kind of makes some sense to you all out there. Again, not the sexiest video, but the truth will set you free. So please check out Flumazenil, but there is hope out there.